It was a decade ago when I found out about ramen, and it was really hard for me to tell what's in there by just trusting my taste buds. It became a go to whenever I'm craving for a nice broth on a cold weather. And by doing a lot of research, I became more fascinated. And today I'm cutting the line. I will make something that I've been wanting to make for a while. No shortcuts. Hence, I'm not even gonna bastardize the traditional way of making it. Well, just a little. But yeah, let's finish this intro and let me show you the 5 parts of how to make tonkotsu ramen. The first part will be the tonkotsu broth. We'll start with 3 pounds of pork's feet. We're gonna soak them in water for 45 minutes and we're gonna drain them and rinse them well after. The water should look like this after 45 minutes of soaking. We're just gonna rinse it piece by piece and we should be ready for our first boil. We're gonna boil these bad boys for approximately 20 minutes. This technique will help us eliminate all the scum that we're not gonna need for our final boil. And with the same process from earlier, drain and rinse. I'm gonna start to add back our rinsed pork's feet on our cooking vessel, and I'm going to add 10 grams of pork fat. And we're gonna go ahead and chop our aromatics for the broth. I have garlic, white onion, ginger, and scallions. Now we're gonna start our second boil and we'll set the heat to low for good 10 hours. Make sure to stir it time to time and add water every 2 hours. After 10 hours on low heat, we are going to turn up the heat on high. We are also going to start squeezing the skin and fat using a strainer to help emulsify the broth. We are going to repeat this process for the last 6 hours, but make sure to add more water as needed. After a long 16 hours, we are going to drain the broth. And that, my friend, is our tonkotsu broth. Now let's jump to part 2 and let's make the pork choshu. To make the braising liquid, we're gonna need 1 cup of soy sauce, half a cup of mirin, and half a cup of sake. We're also gonna need 1 tablespoon of sesame oil and 1 cup of water. I'm also gonna use the same aromatics that we used from our broth earlier. I have some garlic, scallion, and ginger. And also I got this korobuta pork belly from a Japanese store without the skin. After braising our chashu for an hour, we can go ahead and take it out. Let it sit for a while, wrap it, and put it on the fridge till it's ready to get sliced. One of the most important part of our ramen is the tare, as this will serve our salt base and the umami of our ramen. On a medium-sized bowl, I'm going to add 3 kombu, some dried shiitake mushrooms, and furikake seasoning. I will then blanch it with 1 liter of hot water. I'm also gonna add 2 parts of soy sauce, 1 part mirin, and 1 part sake. I'm gonna adjust the saltiness by adding salt and some bonito flakes. You want this tare to be salty, so don't really hold back if you have to. If you don't think it's salty enough, then just add more. We're gonna cover this and we're gonna let it sit for 8 hours. Once that 8 hours is up, we're gonna go ahead and drain our tare. Now let's go to part 4 and let's make some ramen eggs. On a boiling water, we're gonna cook our eggs for exactly 6 minutes. Use a timer if you can. After that 6 minutes, we're gonna put it on an ice bath. We're gonna peel the eggs and we're gonna marinate that with the same stuff that we use from our Choshu pork. The part 5 is gonna be our black garlic oil. We're gonna fry a couple handful of garlic. Once the garlic turns brown, we're gonna get half of it. And we're gonna leave everything until it turns dark. It should look like this. Now we're gonna put our garlic to a food processor. We're gonna add the oil that we used from earlier and 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. We'll let that mix for a couple minutes until we get that fine consistency that we want. Now let's go to part 5 with our noodles and toppings. We're gonna cook our noodles for 6 minutes according to the package. And for our toppings, we're gonna chop our shiitake mushrooms, our wood ear mushrooms, and our green onions too. We're gonna blanch our mushrooms for a couple minutes. And on the other hand, we can go ahead and slice our chashu pork. And for a nice presentation, I'm gonna use a torch. Because why not?